And you would have thought the New York Yankees won that game based on the first clip. And then you heard the second clip there. Cardinals beat the Yankees 13-7 for Game 1 in the Bronx. Hi, everybody. Michael Johnson Jr., Nick Federico, Alex Green here on your Tuesday afternoon drive. Yes, this is the Rob Dibble Show. Rob out for vacation. He'll be on sporadically, but he'll be back fully on Monday. We got Bob Joyce hanging around as well. A full house on this end of the radio station. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And, yeah, look, on a relatively quiet night for sports on a Monday, the Yankees, of course, hopefully you listened to the game last night with Dave Sims and Susan Waldman on the broadcast, but it was eventful. Cam Schlittler roughed up a little bit in Game 1. He only lasted 3 innings. Cardinals jumped on him early and often. We'll quote Rob on this one, right? He's been throwing, not pitching, meaning he hasn't been locating. And some of those home runs were tattooed off of Schlittler, so he's got to do a better job at locating his pitches. But Yankees come all the way back. You're down 6-0, and Luis Garcia has his moment. Ryan Ruocco, whether you're a fan of his or not, that's a great call by him. Phenomenal home run call, and it looks like the Yankees are going to find a way in the 7th inning. And then in steps everybody's favorite Yankee that lasted not long at all, Angel Chivilli, who gave up 7 runs in 1 inning and 3 home runs, might add 2. And Alec Burleson, congratulations. He hits 3 2-run, not 1, not 2, 3 2-run homers. And the Cardinals beat the Yankees 13-7 after an underwhelming, dare I say, trade deadline, right? But Garcia seems to be a good move and a good bat after one game, right? We'll see how Helio Ramos is plugged in with Stanton coming back and Rodon coming back too. So a couple things quickly. One, I don't know what it is, but Cam better figure it out at home. He was quoted in saying it post-game. Nick, you and I were talking about this earlier, right? Something's a little off with him at home. ERA only goes, it doesn't jump up.
It's not balloons.
Yeah,
no.
2.26, right? That's not that bad. But he didn't look sharp from the get-go. Top of the first, giving up a home run. He's great on the road, which I'd almost rather have to start because he's pitched well at home in the playoffs against Boston in the wild card. Sorry, Alex. But that was last year, not this year, right? We don't live in the past around here, just mentioning it. But yeah, Schlittler cannot pitch on the road, and that's a problem. And when Schlittler is giving up runs, what did we talk about yesterday on the show? The Yankees' offense is not good enough to be able to come back. The one time that they do come back after being in a 6-0 hole, it's blown by a guy who's now he's been sent to AAA, right, in Chivilli. So hopefully that's the last time the Yankees see him on the mound. And so did the headline, Anthony Volpe. And who comes up? George Lombard Jr.
There's the trade deadline acquisition for the Yankees.
Another one of those trade deadline acquisitions. I believe he'll be in the start. Will he be in the lineup tonight?
I believe he
would
will be
so.
playing, yep.
Now, where will he be in the lineup tonight, do we think? Any guesses? I'd put it, he's probably between 6
I would probably
or
say
7.
Okay. Probably 7.
Towards the bottom of the lineup, yeah. Look, bad performance last night by the Yankees to come all the way back and then to have Chivilli basically blow it in the 8th inning is tough. Schlittler on the mound, you want to win. To your credit, I'll start with you, Nick. You did say on this program yesterday, this feels like a trap game. I don't feel good about it. I tried to disagree. I tried to be like, oh, it's Schlittler. They got to win games he starts, but we all know that wasn't the case based on last night's game.
Yeah, things just reeked of a trap game for me. Obviously, I want to back our boys. Yes. It reeked. You can smell it a mile away. You take two out of 3 against the Cubbies at Wrigley over the weekend. You come into this game as heavy favorites, not only just in terms of the public perception, but the betting lines reflected that as well. You're at home with your potential AL Cy Young candidate on the mound. But when you look at the analytics and the stats, the underlying numbers, exactly what you said. Cam Schlittler this season has pitched far better on the road than he has at home in the Bronx in Yankee Stadium, and that was shown last night.
Yeah.
As to your point as why exactly is he struggling, I think it's some of these hitters and teams that take the approach and are willing to shorten up and choke up on the bat and foul pitches off. Cam struggles against teams that deploy that tactic, and we saw it a lot from St. Louis last night. Cam really likes to spam that 4-seam fastball that has a lot of run.
High in the zone a lot, too. Likes to go high.
98 plus consistently. Yeah. But when they foul pitch after pitch off, teams are willing to do that until he makes a mistake. Now, he didn't deploy the curveball, which we've seen as of late a lot more from him, and I think that's where he ran into trouble. It may be in the offseason. It's too late into the year, obviously, to implement a new pitch and really refine that. But maybe incorporate a splitter or a nasty changeup, which I'm sure he can pull off during the offseason. Maybe add another pitch to his arsenal, a strikeout pitch to really get out of these jams.
Yeah.
But he really, for all things considered, he gives up, 3 or 4? I think he gives up 4 earned runs. The
4
team
earned runs.
finally battles back. That's the one time where he gets run support and they actually prop him up and he doesn't have to do all the work. And then obviously the bullpen implodes. Chiavelli finally, he's getting sent right back down to AAA Scranton.
Good.
Only spent about 2 or 3 weeks with the team after getting him from Colorado.
Yeah.
But it's disheartening because Garcia comes in his first game in pinstripes. He gets a base hit, gets the first hit in pinstripes out of the way in the 4th inning, and then he comes up in an ideal, pivotal situation in the game. 2 outs, bottom 7. The tying run is looking like it might get stranded on second base in Grisham unless somebody comes through and gets a base hit. Not only does he get a hit, he hits an absolute nuke that's tattooed into the bullpen about 425
was not
feet.
A cheapie. Was
not
not
a cheapie. The crowd erupts. The whole stadium's rocking. You're now ahead after trailing 6-0. You're up 7-6, 7 runs uncontested. And then the bullpen just absolutely falters. And it all reflects back on Cashman, unfortunately, in a negative way now. Because one of the things that we wanted as Yankees fans to be addressed, besides obviously the catcher and the shortstop, now Lombard gets called up, and we'll touch on that in a minute.
Yeah.
But we wanted bullpen help. We needed more relievers, more healthy arms that haven't been taxed.
No.
And we don't pull the trigger on that. And what happens? You give up a 7 spot at the top of the 8th inning to lose the game.
I'm glad you brought that up, Nick. And yes, we will touch on Lombard in just a bit. Alex, I know you're a Red Sox fan. I know they didn't play, and I know you're happy the Yankees lost. But I mean, look, you've seen Schlittler pitch well against your Sox. You've seen him be,
yes.
For the most part. But should Yankees fans be concerned at all for how he's been pitching recently here over these last couple of starts in the Bronx?
I think there's some cause for concern. Ultimately, I think you still trust Schlittler in a playoff series, especially if he's the number 2 or number 3 starter with the amount of depth the Yankees have in their rotation. If he's the number 2 or number 3 in this playoff series, he's probably got the advantage over a majority of pitchers he's facing in a potential playoff series. So I don't think there's a ton of cause for concern. But if you're the Yankees, what a disappointing game. Garcia, like you said, Nick, had a fantastic game. He went 2 for 4. Made a nice defensive play, too, to turn a double play in the game.
Looks like a good pickup.
He played good defensively at first last night. Has the big home run to give the Yankees the lead late in the game, but then the bullpen blows it. And Garcia, it was a debut for Garcia that couldn't really have gone any better outside of the Yankees winning that game and holding on to that lead they had. But I mean, look, if you're the Yankees, you got to be thrilled with what you've seen in Garcia in that first game. If he continues to do that every single night, Yankee fans are going to love him.
And he might be an everyday player. If you're going to produce like that, give him a little bit of time. That's one game, so pump the brakes there. But yeah, he looked good. Boone on Schlittler last night, quote, never got into a good rhythm tonight. Just never getting his stuff to the places consistently that he wanted to, and that he normally does. I rarely agree with Boone, and his postgame gets old. I noticed that, and you watch the highlights back, and I'm watching the game. His location just wasn't there. So Schlittler has allowed 13 home runs this season. 6 of them have come in the first inning. So that's an inning to get past. And again, if you want the home road splits again, like we referenced, here they are. Schlittler's 8-2 on the road with a 1.10 ERA. Basically dominant. In the Bronx at home, 2-4 with a 4.32 ERA. Overall, it's a 2.26. So see, when he's scheduled to pitch again at home and watch that because you don't want that to mess with him a little bit in the psyche. Yankees hosting a wild card series. He's going to be starting one of those 3 games or in the ALDS. He pitched really well in his only postseason start, but that was last October. Things can change. And like you said, Nick, I think also, too, these teams are adjusting. They're watching the film. If a guy throws high velocity, I play Little League. We probably, a lot of us grew up, and a lot of listeners out there probably grew up playing baseball, Little League, right? What do coaches always say? Choke up on the bat. That's the first thing. Choke up on the bat, shorten your swing. And you saw it last night for a lot of the Cardinals. It does need to go far. Rafael Devers' first home run off Aroldis Chapman was almost a half swing. Literally almost a half swing, but it was 101, and he made contact with the fat part of the sweet spot of the barrel, right? And that Burleson did it last night, and a bunch of the other Cardinals jumped on it. It's a scrappy team. I think the record is not necessarily indicative of how good the Cardinals have been. Walker obviously winning the home run derby, and Rob's mentioned all the time, right? They're a scrappy team. They're a good team. They've got a mix of young and old, and it's not a cakewalk of a series. None of these are this way. In this home stretch, you got St. Louis, you got Arizona, and you got Seattle. It's not an easy
not Arizona.
Atlanta and Seattle. Thank you, Alex. I could have just looked to the left at our calendar, but I was so locked into the tournament I forgot to look to our left. But yeah, point being, these are not cupcakes of opponents. You gotta lock in and try and take 2 of 3. Now, what does Weathers do tonight? Right? That's something we have to look at too. But the story I want to get to is George Lombard Jr. Right? Finally, right? You've been hearing his name. I saw the clip earlier of Joel Sherman with Brian Cashman 3 years ago. Remember where he's kind of questioning him about Volpe and like Lombard Jr. and now Volpe gets replaced by Lombard, right? This is what you like to see if you're Cashman. Yes, the deadline was underwhelming. They did not address needs, but if this can fill the shortstop void, that's one half the battle. That doesn't solve the catching position in the slightest. But I'm eager to see what this kid can do. I mean, he can rake by all accounts in AAA, right? And, you don't want it to be another Volpe situation where he's overhyped and doesn't do well. Now, Cashman, I'm not going to say he's listening to the noise and, catering to the fan base, but Dominguez, Jones, Lombard, all kind of within a span of a year or so are now consistently playing. This isn't something Cashman would have done probably 5 years ago, right? With a lot of prospects. I know the prospects are better, but maybe not changing the guard, but maybe changing his ways a little bit. You agree?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Obviously, Spencer Jones, really since his second call-up, this is his second stint with the big league team now, over the past couple weeks, especially against the White Sox when we were on the road, he really was one of our most consistent bats. At least in terms of he had a few homers, was putting the ball in play. I remember distinctly, I think in the second game of that series, Jones came up with 1 out and was able to choke up on the bat and actually move the runner over and get the sac fly. And then Lombard, like you said, finally at long last, he's getting his chance with the big league squad. Our number 1 prospect. We've been harping on the Volpe situation for what feels like a decade now, even though it's only been a few years for the better part of. But it feels like a new era. It feels like a new era at shortstop. I think it's important though for Yankees fans in specific with surrounding the Lombard call up to temper your expectations. This is a kid who it's a massive jump from AAA to the major league level. And I was talking to Alex off the air about Lombard and his tendencies, and everything from the analytics to the stats to what reporters are saying that follow AAA Scranton and have followed Lombard since he's been in the organization is that every time he's received a promotion and gone from single A to double to now triple and now to the major league level, he always has a tendency to start a little slow. It's going to take him a week or two before you start seeing the offensive production that we know he's capable of, but I'm personally fine with it. If he can play sound defense at shortstop and make the plays that he needs to make. I'm not looking for you to go out there and be Bobby Witt Jr. from day one.
No.
But if you can make the plays that are necessary as the Yankees shortstop.
The bar's a little low.
The bar is extremely low.
I mean, let's be real. That's got to help him.
Sugarcoat it here.
Yeah,
Volpe has lowered the bar
extremely
for what it means to be the shortstop for the New York Yankees.
Yeah, it's strong.
At what was once a unreachable or an insurmountable bar that was set by the likes of the captain Derek Jeter.
It's true.
And Didi Gregorius did a good job filling in those shoes when he stepped in after Derek Jeter retired.
Yeah.
Anthony Volpe, nothing personal to him, but it just didn't pan out. That experiment has been, run its course for years now. Time to get Lombard the reps. I'm glad he's getting the call up. Jack Curry just reported he's looking like he's going to be wearing number 96 for the Yankees. He's probably going to get the start at short tonight. Let's see how he does. Maybe he can get his first hit in pinstripes. That would be fantastic, but just get the reps and see what he could do.
My thing is, and it's well said, Nick, is the glove for me. The bat's going to take a lot of time. I mean, you could be looking at going to October where he gets his bat up to speed. It's not like he's going to jump out of the gate and hit 285.
And we're looking at, if we look ahead at the schedule, we got Atlanta coming up with Chris Sale.
Good pitching.
We've got Seattle with one of the best starting rotations in Major League Baseball. So it's not exactly a cakewalk. He's not going to hit the ground running, I don't think, at least offensively.
No, it's too unrealistic to expect that. And look, he hit 268 with an 845 OPS in 56 games in AAA, right? Yeah, the stats are good. I'm glad you brought it up. The jump from AAA to the major leagues, or AA, like Volpe did.
Yeah.
Do you think
jump.
he maybe regrets or misses little AAA activity?
I bet.
Look, I'm not trying to trash the dude, but
No.
you need those reps. You need that experience. Rob talks about it all the time, even pitching in the minor leagues, the big leagues. These are grown men. These are some of the best pitching you'll ever face. Guys that hit rockets where the ball's going to spin and give you all sorts of fits at shortstop. There's no really such thing as routine grounders anymore, or at least very few of them. So I'm watching the defense tonight. I'm watching ground balls. I'm watching how can he turn double plays? How efficient is he? Because if you've got the defense back at shortstop, fine. The bar's so low. Lombard's talented enough. Maybe he gets the bat there in a little bit. But it's just exciting when it was an underwhelming trade deadline. From a fan's perspective, you get to see a new player in Lombard. You get to see an exciting prospect. We all have them. Every team's got them. Not a lot of teams use them or call them up, especially the Yankees. That's the part for me. Just something fresh, something bright and new and shiny. Like it's like a new car. Like you watch a little bit. It's like, all right, let's see how this thing runs. Let's see how it drives. Maybe give it time. It might be an adjustment. And that's what I think we have here with Lombard.
One more thing on Anthony Volpe. Again, obviously, there's nothing personal from us against Volpe.
No.
It just didn't pan out as the Yankees shortstop. That was a high bar, and it just didn't work out as a player perspective. I want to say one thing, though. When he was originally brought into the fold to play shortstop, I think he was kind of done dirty in the sense that the precedent was set from Boone and Cashman that he was going to have the job despite how he performed. He was going to be the guy as the Yankees shortstop. And that precedent was reinforced time and time again because we saw struggles, we saw defensive lapses, we saw the lack of production offensively, the inability to put bat to ball. We knew he wasn't a power hitter, but he was swinging for the fences with his approach. He wasn't able to move guys over or come in clutch and get a base hit when needed. And yet he still got the nod to be in the lineup day in and day out. Yeah. And there was never any pressure, really, throughout his duration as the shortstop, that there was going to be somebody to take over that role, really, until Caballero this year. But even then, he's been earning majority of the playing time when he's been healthy.
Yeah.
So, I full-heartedly agree that he probably regrets or is missing some of the opportunity to get some double or triple A at-bats. Probably would have benefited him, but that's in the past now. Maybe he'll get some at-bats now. Maybe I've seen the idea floated around that he learns a new position.
Oh,
but maybe get some reps at second base. We'll see. But for now,
step at a time.
For now, it's time to refine the game in Scranton for sure.
Alex, how excited should Yankees fans be to see George Lombard Jr. tonight?
I think they should be excited.
All right.
I know they've been waiting on him to get called up, but his name has been floated in trade rumors all the time at the deadline, especially if you're not gonna trade George Lombard Jr. when you're going to call him up. So if I'm a Yankees fan, I'd be very excited, especially with the struggles that Volpe has had this season. It's gone on too long. And Nick and I have talked about this off air. We talked about it yesterday, talked about it today. If Volpe continues to play this bad, why not call up George Lombard Jr. and see what you've got? And if he's not the answer, then maybe he becomes more expendable.
But at least
At least you know. Exactly. Yeah. And it can't be any worse than what Volpe's been defensively and offensively this season.
Yeah, no, exactly. The bar's been set so low where he can just come in and immediately hopefully increase production. And that's all you can ask for at the end of the day if you're the Yankees. So Lombard Jr. going to be in the starting lineup tonight, most likely, when the lineup's released a little bit. One last PSA for Yankees fans, too. Yes, Cheville last night, terrible, awful, atrocious. The bullpen collectively has been pretty good the last couple of months.
Yes.
And really, it was really solid. Tim Hill gave up, got dinged for a few, but Cruz, Yarbrough coming in, Bednar when he's in. Hedrick, right? Blackburn when he's in. I mean, what? Paul Blackburn
in his first year coming out of the pen.
Exactly, too.
He's a career starting pitcher,
starter reliever with just the latest in that long line of successful transitions, right?
Yep.
The bullpen's been fine. It was a bad night. Yes, it was a frustrating day for Yankees fans out there. It really was. Between the deadline and seeing one of your new few moves that you made and Luis Garcia Jr. hit a home run, have 2 hits, have a nice defensive play like you said, Alex, and then losing the game, it leaves a sour taste. But I implore everybody, there is still room Yankees could bounce back tonight. We'll obviously touch on that later.
One more thing for me to add. The Cardinals lineup is out. Yankees fans will be relieved to hear Alec Burleson not in it tonight. So
Who's playing first base?
Blaze Jordan, the former Red Sox prospect.
Wow.
Interesting.
You're going to take him out
Burleson
after
is
3
out.
home
Home
runs?
runs?
Yes,
and
so
6
Burleson
RBIs.
will
He's hitting
not
288.
terrorize the Yankees again tonight.
Must be a
like
rest
he
day.
did last night.
Because his arm's supposed to be so tired from swinging
Could be
so hard and rounding
with a
the
lefty
bases.
on the mound. Lefty.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, Weathers, that's a good
But
point. Yeah, Weathers
Just
going.
something I'm noticing as I was looking at the lineups.
Good stat, Alex. What do you say, boys? How about we continue this conversation with Bob Nightingale, senior
Let's.
MLB reporter and writer for the USA Today. Ask him all about the Yankees, the trade deadline, and more. Bob's the best. He's going to join us next. This is the Tuesday edition of the Rob Dibble Show. Michael Johnson Jr., Nick Federico, and Alex Green in for the big man, Rob Dibble, as he's on vacation. Thank you for keeping us on the air. We'll be right back with Bob Nightingale after this on Fox Sports Radio 97.9 Hartford and, of course, our free iHeartRadio app.